Hi, I'm Jenna Whitaker. I am a sophomore music ed major, and this is my answers to the interview questions. Why do I want to be a WIU summer camp counselor? I want to be a camp counselor because I think it would be a really great experience for me. I love working with students of all ages, and I haven't got to have as much experience with high school students as I have with middle school students as I would like. It would be a complete learning experience for me, having never been a counselor before, and I'm really interested in being able to work with these age groups. And it's interesting to me because they're at a really important part of their musical careers where coming to these camps could be a really huge influence on their musical careers and inspire them. And that is something that I would love to see happen and love to be a part of. Tell me about your experience working at WIU camp or other camps. I don't have any experience working at WIU camps or any other camp. I've never been a camp counselor before. The experience I have with WIU camps is that I went to 2 of the camps when I was a senior in high school. I really liked the camps, and they really had a huge influence on me when I came to these camps. I did it just because I was interested in learning more about music, and it turned into, after leaving the camps, I wanted to be a music teacher. So they really had a huge impact on me, and I want to be a counselor at these camps because I would like to see that same thing happen for another student or a camper that comes. What weaknesses do you have that would keep you from hiring me? Weakness that I have that might keep you from hiring me would be I have no experience as a camp counselor. I've never done it before. There's never been any camps around my area because I live in Macomb. There haven't really been any camps in my area that I would have been able to really be a counselor at that at least I know of. And that's just one of my weaknesses. Another weakness that I have is that I'm very emotionally invested in everything I do. I really get excited about things, but also sometimes I get really upset when I don't have things that I want. But this could also be a good thing because it shows that I am really I want the best for the campers if I am emotionally invested in the camp and doing what is right for being a camp counselor. Another weakness that I have is that I am not a morning person at all. It takes me a really long time to get woke up in the morning, but it's not a problem because I can do it, and once I get going and take a shower and get woke up, I'll be fine. But other than that, that's it. Why do you think people come to camp at Western Illinois University? I think people come to camp at Western Illinois University because they have an interest in music, first of all, and because they want to learn more about music. I also think that WIU Camps has a good reputation for being very professional and a place where you can come and have a good experience as a musician for a camper, and I think that's another reason why people come. Some people come even if they don't want to pursue music, which is great because they just want to learn more, and that is great because we have such an amazing faculty that can give so much of their wisdom and information that they have learned and pass it on to the campers, and they find it very interesting to be here. And so I just think people really like coming here because Western has developed this reputation for being very informative to campers, teaching them things that they hadn't already known and taking that back to their schools. And also because they have a good time when they come here. I don't think people would keep returning if they didn't have a good time. I know I came to 2 of them in the same summer, and I went back again because I had such a good time. The counselors were great. I learned a lot while I was there about my instrument and about how to just better myself as a musician, and I think that's another reason why people just keep coming back. How would you handle working with another counselor who was always complaining, showed little initiative, and didn't fit in with other counselors? I guess in a situation like this, I would talk to the person in private. I would try to talk to them a little bit to try to make them feel comfortable with me instead of just barging in and being like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? I don't feel like that's a proper way to approach someone if you just ask them straight up what's wrong with you or something like that. I would try to be as calm and polite with them and try to be friendly and warm and try to see if maybe there's something like going on in their lives right now that's bothering them and making them act this way. And then I would probably try to ask them if they could please have a positive attitude, because if we don't have positive attitudes as counselors, that reflects onto the campers and that makes the campers not want to be here. So it's very important that we have the most positive and friendly attitudes that we can. And I guess if they were still complaining all the time after I had talked to them and they showed little initiative, I would just mention something to the head counselor and maybe they could talk to that person. During the rec, a student has trouble catching his breath and sits down. Holds his chest while trying to take big breaths. Describe for me the events which you would initiate in what order. What I would do first is I would calmly rush to the student's side, because if I get all freaked out about what's happening, that's not going to help the student or any of the other counselors, any of the other campers around him. And I would try to help him stand up, because that would help him be able to breathe better. Then I would ask him if he had asthma or anything else that would cause him to have breathing problems. Then I would say if the student is still struggling to breathe, I would have another counselor go get the head counselor or call OPS if needed for the situation. What would you do if you caught someone drinking? What are some other things that are not acceptable at the WIU camp? If I saw someone drinking, I would report them to the head counselor. I am in no way or any position to take the alcohol away from them since I am under 21. I don't have that right. I will leave that to the head counselor, and that person can deal with that situation. Some other things that are not acceptable at WIU camps are drugs. First of all, that's completely unacceptable. This is a learning environment, and that's just, no, not at all. Bullying, damaging WIU property, public display of affection, inappropriate sexual behavior, campers of the opposite sex in each other's floors or rooms, anything like that. Describe a game you would like to oversee at rec that is not ultimate frisbee, basketball, soccer, or kickball, etc. Okay. So, I used to be in a lot of plays when I was in high school, so we learned different games to play backstage that were really fun for everybody. Everybody usually got into these games, and they were completely appropriate for all ages. Just for an example of one that I could oversee would be a game called Zip Zap Zop, and what you do is you have a group of people stand in a circle, and one person has to point at another student and go zip, and then they have to point at another student in the circle, and then the person who was said zip to that person, the person who was pointed at has to say zap to another person in the circle, and the person who got pointed at for zap has to say zop to a different person in the circle. And it keeps going and going, and you have to try to see how fast you can go. And it's really fun for people. It's just something that doesn't require any equipment. You can do it wherever, basically. But it's really fun to play. And I also have other games sort of like that we could do if we didn't have equipment for some reason. So, yeah. And that's it. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I look forward to hearing from you guys in the future. Bye.